All right, hello everyone. Thanks for logging on and opening up this video. And let's get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about Jackie Robinson and the Civil Rights Movement. This lesson is going to be just a quick introduction to Jackie Robinson. And as you guys know, as part of this unit, you guys will be becoming experts on Jackie Robinson and his role in influencing the civil rights movement in the United States through research and presentations you guys put together. So this will just be a little introduction to give you some background information so you guys have something to build from. Here are our California social science content standards. You can go ahead and pause this and read these if you like. You'll be seeing a lot of these within the unit. And then here are our Common Core state standards. You can also pause here and read those if you like. You'll also be seeing a lot of these. These are more applicable to when you guys are doing your research and developing your presentations, and we'll get to that soon. For this lesson, here are our objectives. Our content objective is students will be able to describe Jackie Robinson's experience breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball. And our language objective is students will be able to explain Jackie Robinson's experience breaking Major League Baseball's color barrier, both orally and in writing. All right, so let's get into talking about Jackie Robinson. Here is his early life. He was born January 31st, 1919 in Cairo, Georgia. And as we've learned about the early 1900s, Georgia was very segregated. But when Jackie was about 1.5 years old, his father left town to find a better job to provide for his family and never came back. So he was raised by his mother, who moved the family to Pasadena, California. Now, excuse me, this was very important because Jackie Robinson moved from Georgia, where segregation was just the law of the land, and to Pasadena, where segregation wasn't an institution. There was definitely racism going on, but white people and black people weren't completely separated as they were in Georgia. So Jackie Robinson grew up, playing baseball and playing sports and just running around with black and white kids mixed together, and that really helped to form his view of the world. When he was in high school, he was a four-sport athlete. He played football, basketball, baseball, and he ran track. And he was just a standout in all four sports. Here's a picture of Jackie Robinson playing football in high school. And if you check out this link for one of the additional videos, there's a couple highlights of Jackie Robinson playing football in, I believe it's in college, but you can just see him just running all over the field, and you can just tell how good of an athlete he is just by these few highlights. And remember, these additional videos are optional. We'll get to some other videos that you do need to watch as a part of this lesson, and those will all the videos will be linked directly on the Edmodo site, so you can just click on those. It'll be a little easier than copy and pasting from this video. Okay, so while Jackie Robinson was in high school, something really big in the world of sports went on, and that was the 1936 Olympics. The 1936 Olympics were held in Berlin, Germany, and as you guys know from world history last year and a little bit this year, 1936 Germany was Nazi Germany, and the guy in power there was Hitler. And Hitler wanted to have the Olympics in Germany because he wanted to use the Olympics to show the world that his idea of the master race, the Aryan race, was true, and he expected all the Germans to just beat everybody in the Olympics, and he could show the world, hey, we're better, I'm right. And so you get a picture of Hitler right there. He's the one guy that's not doing the salute, and he kind of watched the Olympics. He wanted to show the world that he was right, and they were better than everyone else. The only problem with that was this guy showed up. His name was Jesse Owens. He was just a track standout, incredibly fast, a great athlete. And what he did was he showed up and he won 4 gold medals. And him and a lot of other black U.S. athletes proved Hitler wrong. They kind of shoved it in his face, like, hey, we're faster than you guys, so you're obviously wrong. And that kind of ticked Hitler off. And Jesse Owens was just the star of these Olympics. He was Usain Bolt before Usain Bolt was around. He ended up having the German fans just cheering him on because his performances were just so amazing. So if you go to that second video, it's a short video that just kind of explains a little more about the 1936 Olympics and Jesse Owens. He won 4 Olympics, 3. I think it was the 100-yard dash, the 200-yard dash, the 4x100 relay, and the long jump. So also in the 1936 Olympics, Jackie Robinson's older brother Mac won a silver medal in the 200-meter dash. So you got a picture of Mac Robinson right there. So while Jackie's in high school, he sees his older brother winning an Olympic medal and showing up Hitler and showing that his ideas that there's this master Aryan race are false. And so when Mac and when Jesse Owens and a lot of other black athletes from the U.S. Won their medals, Hitler just left the stadium. A lot of times he would go and congratulate the other medalists, the other people who had won in the events, but he just wouldn't even recognize the black athletes were there. So seeing that and knowing Mac's experience, Jackie was obviously very proud. His brother just won, the silver medal in the Olympics, and Jackie, being a great athlete, he one day he hoped to use his athletic ability to do something meaningful the way his brother and Jesse Owens had done. So after high school, Jackie Robinson went to college at UCLA. He enrolled there in 1939, so about 3 years after the Olympics. He was the first student in UCLA history to earn 4 varsity letters in the same year. Same sports as high school: football, basketball, track, and baseball. If you're wondering why that's a big deal, it's because there's only 3 seasons for sports. And so during the spring, he would play baseball and run track at the same time. During this time, he was a long jump national champion. He led the league in scoring for his basketball team. And playing football, he was an All-American. So in all the sports that he played, baseball was his weakest sport, but he ended up going into professional baseball because at that time, that's pretty much the only sport you can make a living playing professionally. Here's a picture of Jackie Robinson at UCLA running track. All right, so after Jackie Robinson got out of high school, it's 1942. We know what's going on in 1942. That's World War II. And so Jackie Robinson was drafted into the United States Army. I've got a picture of him right here. Oh, excuse me. So while in the Army, July 1944, at a base in Fort Hood, Texas, they had buses that would take the soldiers around to different parts of the base or different areas. And one time, Jackie Robinson was sitting on the bus, and an officer came in and told him to move to the back of the bus. And Jackie said no. If that sounds familiar, think Rosa Parks. I know we haven't gotten to that yet, but just if you know who that is, think Rosa Parks. Jackie Robinson did that before Rosa Parks. The only problem with Jackie Robinson doing it was he was in the Army, and he was disobeying an order. He wasn't following an order, and that means he could be court-martialed for that. During the court-martial, a lot of people thought, well, he's in the Army. It's not right to make him sit in the back of the bus because he's black. Jackie Robinson ended up being found not guilty, and he was honorably discharged from the Army. So he wasn't convicted, and he wasn't dishonorably discharged. So after the Army, Jackie Robinson started playing in the Negro Leagues. Back during this time, there was the Major Leagues, which was for white players and white coaches, and there was the Negro Leagues that were for Negro players or black players. In 1945, he joined the Kansas City Monarchs, and we got a picture of him right there. Playing for the Monarchs, Jackie Robinson made about $400 a month. His first season playing, he played in 47 games. He had a .387 batting average. He hit 5 home runs and had 13 stolen bases. And you guys should be familiar with all Oh, what all those statistics mean from Mrs. Gomez's math class. Oh, so at the same time, Jackie Robinson is playing for the Monarchs in the Negro Leagues. There's this guy, Branch Rickey, and he is the president of the Brooklyn Dodgers. You might be thinking, wait, the Dodgers, they're in Los Angeles. Well, they used to be in Brooklyn. In the 1950s, the Dodgers and the Giants both moved from New York out to the West Coast, but this is before that happened. So they're the Brooklyn Dodgers. And so Branch Rickey, he wants to bring a black player into Major League Baseball. He he just couldn't. It didn't sit right with him that the best players weren't in the major leagues, and that some of them weren't allowed to be in the major leagues just because of the color of their skin. But he knew that if he was going to have someone break the color barrier and be the first black player in baseball, they would have to be a great player. So it wasn't some publicity stunt. It was a guy who deserved to be on the field and on the team, but that whoever it was would have to have really great character and be able to not fight back when he faced racism from the fans, from teammates, from people he was playing against, from umpires, from newspaper writers. And so he did some research. He had some scouts go out and look at players that were playing in the Negro Leagues and find someone who was good enough to play in the major leagues and was strong enough as a person and in their character to deal with what they would have to deal with. So finally, their scouts ended up tracking down Jackie Robinson. And on August 28th, 1945, Branch Rickey met with Jackie Robinson. So that's going to take us to our first video that you have to watch. So once I tell you you're going to pause this video, go and watch the video clip, and then come back to this. Just like the additional videos, you can find the links in the Edmodo website. That should be a little easier for you than typing the whole URL into YouTube or something. A lot of the clips we're going to watch in this lesson are from the movie 42, which is a Warner Brothers movie from 2013. It's about Jackie Robinson in his first year playing in the big leagues, and this movie does a pretty good job of keeping things historically accurate for the most part, but there's also parts that Hollywood is Hollywood and embellishes the story a little bit. And so part of what you guys will be doing for your big project will be finding out what in the movie is fake, what in the movie really happened, and sharing that with the visitors at the exhibition. So go ahead and pause this video. When you're done watching that next video, come back to this and continue watching this one. And a little heads up, one of the quiz questions, the answer to it will only be found in this video, and then you might want to go back 2 slides to the Negro League slide, and that will help you out a little bit. So go ahead and pause now and come back after you watch the video. Alright, so you just watched the first clip, and Branch Rickey was telling Jackie Robinson he was going to go play in the minor leagues for the Dodgers Montreal team. The reason Branch Rickey wanted to send Jackie Robinson to Montreal was because their other farm team, the other team that they drew players from, was in the South, in Alabama. And if you're trying to incorporate, if you're trying to have a black player play with white players for the first time, probably the worst place you could do that was Alabama. So he sent Jackie Robinson up to Montreal to play there. And Jackie Robinson showed up to Montreal and just blew everybody away. He's just this great athlete. A writer from the Montreal Gazette, Dink Carroll, wrote, "There doesn't seem to be anything he can't do." And then a writer for the Pittsburgh Courier wrote, "It was probably the only day in history that a black man ran from a white mob with love instead of lynching on his mind." He wrote that after Jackie Robinson's final game in Montreal, because they all knew it by the end of the year he'd be spending the next year playing for the big league team in Brooklyn. One thing that's interesting with this is the the writer, he writes that with kind of surprise that there was a white mob that loved this black man enough to chase him down. But then it's also interesting to think that he wrote about lynching in kind of this passive tone, like it was just the norm for the day, and that's what Jackie Robinson dealt with. So in the minor leagues, Jackie Robinson's manager for the Montreal Royals his name was Clay Hopper. Clay Hopper was, he'd grown up in the deep South, just a good old boy, and was definitely a racist, and was not real happy with Branch Rickey for sending Jackie Robinson to his team. So at the beginning of the season, they're doing spring training, which is, just kind of practicing, getting ready for the season. And one of the days, Jackie Robinson is just making all these great stops out in the field. Their coach is hitting grounders, and Jackie Robinson is doing these amazing plays that's surprising everyone. And so Branch Rickey's sitting in the dugout next to Clay Hopper, saying, "Hey, look at that! Look at Jackie Robinson! Look at those plays he's making. Have you ever seen a human being do something like that?" Kind of bragging on Jackie Robinson. And so Clay Hopper's response to Branch Rickey was leaned over and he said, "Do you really think that a N-word is a human being, Mr. Rickey?" So Jackie Robinson's manager didn't even consider Jackie Robinson a human being because of the color of his skin. So that's at the beginning of the season. By the end of the season, based on both his on-field play and the way he carried himself, the way that Jackie Robinson carried himself off the field and dealing with everything he had to deal with, by the end of the season, Clay Hopper, the same guy who wouldn't even recognize that Jackie Robinson was a human at the beginning of the season, he said, "Robinson is a player who must go to the majors. He's a big league ball player, a good team hustler, and a real gentleman." So just in that course of that one season, Jackie Robinson was able to change Clay Hopper's mind. And so here is a newspaper article and a picture of Jackie Robinson signing his contract to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers to get up to the big leagues. You don't have to, but if you want to pause it and read that article, it really doesn't talk much about Jackie Robinson being the first African-American player in the big leagues. It talks about how much he got paid, his signing bonus, and then that same day, the Dodgers signed a new relief pitcher, and it talks about him too and kind of compares their contract, and it's just like, hey, we've got two new guys. Hopefully they can be worth what we're paying for. And so that kind of talks about the importance of Jackie Robinson's ability to perform on the field. It's one of those things, if you're on a team and you've got a teammate who helps you win, and he's one of the best players on the team, you want him on your team. That's something a lot. We'll talk about that when we talk about Jackie Robinson's teammates in a little bit. So, breaking the color barrier. During spring training, some of the Dodger teammates petitioned against having Robinson on the team. Not all of the people did, but a few of Jackie Robinson's teammates really didn't. They were not comfortable playing with an African American on the team, and they signed a petition that they gave to Branch Rickey to let him know, to try and get Jackie Robinson out of there. And Branch Rickey basically said, "You know what? I don't care. He's playing. Whoever the best players are playing," and that was that. Jackie Robinson had to deal with racial threats from both players and fans. He kind of got it from both sides. And the threats were pretty serious, as you can see in these pictures here. These are notes. These are just a sample, a small size of the threats. We're talking death threats here that Jackie Robinson got. And in the right, on the bottom where you see it says, "At Crosley Field," that was in Cincinnati. We'll see a clip of what happened in a game in Cincinnati in a little bit. So in addition to these death threats, the players on the other teams would intentionally try and hurt Jackie Robinson just because he was black. Pitchers would throw fastballs at his head to try and hit him. Runners would spike his leg when they were running. If you don't know what spiking the leg is, we'll see a clip of that real quick, so don't worry about that. During the whole time, he had to obey segregation laws. That meant when the Dodgers were traveling by bus, he had to sit in the back. If they went to a hotel that didn't allow black people to stay there, he had to find a different hotel. If the Dodgers went to a restaurant and they didn't serve black people, he would have to go find a different restaurant. And so the whole time, this this pressure of being the first African American playing in the major leagues, it just never lets up for Jackie Robinson. So how did Jackie Robinson respond? We're going to watch a few clips from 42 that shows how he deals with the racism on the field. Now, there's 3 videos here. Now, everyone has to watch video 2. Video 3 and 4 does have some adult content, so only watch those if you've returned. And I have the signed permission slip from your parents saying that they're okay with you watching this stuff. It's just some language. It's nothing really graphic. But if you have not returned those, don't watch them yet. So pause this video, go and watch those, and return to this video when you're done. Alright, so we've watched those, and you've seen the racism that Jackie Robinson faced on the field, and the toll that it took on him, and just what he had to deal with. You also saw how his teammates reacted to it. It was one of those, you know what, this guy is a really good guy, and he's a good player, and he's my teammate, so I'm going to stick up for him. You'll see yeah. So let's go turning the tide. Robinson excelled on the field. He was a great player on the field. He was the fastest player in the league, and he kind of changed the way baseball was played a little bit. So his first year, his rookie of the year, was the first year that the magazine, The Sporting News, gave out the Rookie of the Year award. So he won the first ever National League Rookie of the Year. And his whole first season, he never started any fights or complained about the way he was being treated. He just internalized everything. In the clips, you saw a woman in the stands that they kept showing. That was his wife. Her name is Rachel Robinson. She's still alive today. And she was kind of his support system. He drew a lot of strength from her. So as the season progresses, a lot of blacks in the country, they started seeing Jackie Robinson as a hero, because he was holding it on. He was being a great player, and he was being a great person, and so they started looking up to him. And a lot of white people, they began to respect Robinson's his athletic talent and his character. And so here's a picture of a newspaper. Jackie scores the winning run. It wasn't Negro ball player scores winning run. It was they're using his name, and they only need his first name. And then when it says Robbie on the back, when it says Jackie, they're only using his first name. They don't even need to use his last name because he's being a good enough ball player and such a good human that just pretty much everyone knows him. He's a national celebrity by this point. So Robinson's teammates. So you're gonna pause this and watch some of these. Oh, this is additional videos. These are videos you need to watch. Video 5. It happens in Cincinnati at Crosley Field, where that death threat was supposed to happen. The scene you see is kind of it's misplaced in the movie. What you see actually happened the next year in 1948 in Jackie Robinson's second year playing. And then the other Dodger you see talking to him is he was kind of before Jackie Robinson showed up, he was the Dodgers' top player. His name's Pee Wee Reese. He was the shortstop. He was the best player and kind of the team leader. Video 6, there's not much historical backup for it, but it's just kind of funny, and you see how some of Jackie Robinson's teammates are kind of not caring that he's black anymore. It's, hey, you're one of us. We respect what you do on the field, and we respect you more for what you do and who you are off the field. And so it's just kind of a funny little clip. And then video 7, it shows the real Jackie Robinson and the real Pee Wee Reese and their other teammate Eddie Stanky. Yeah, his last name was Stanky. He was the guy from the last clips that got up and marched over from the Dodgers dugout. and got in the face of the other team's manager that was yelling at Jackie. And what's interesting about him was Eddie Stanky was raised. He was raised in the Deep South, and he was not a fan of having a black guy on his team until he saw who Jackie Robinson was and what he dealt with, and the personal strength that he showed. So think when you watch this video 7 and it shows Eddie Stanky, just think about that, his background of growing up just surrounded by segregation and racism and having that be the way he viewed the world, and listen to the passion in his voice when he describes what Jackie Robinson went through and what his opinion of Jackie Robinson is now. All right, so Jackie Robinson's. Oh, sorry. Pause. So yeah, sorry. Go ahead and pause the video now. Watch those 3 clips, and come back when you're done. All right, so Jackie Robinson's career, you see him right here stealing home in the World Series. This is just an iconic baseball photo. Jackie Robinson was fast enough to steal home, and that's unheard of. That rarely happens, and it was a regular part of Jackie Robinson's game because he was just that good. He played from 1947 to 1956. Some more stats that you guys should be familiar with from Mrs. Gomez's math class. He hit .311. He had 1,518 hits. In his career, he had 137 home runs. Like we talked about, he won the 1947 National League Rookie of the Year. That was the first year they gave that award out. In 1949, he won the National League Most Valuable Player. So all the writers got together and thought that they voted that he was the best player in the National League that year. In 1955, the Dodgers won the World Series, so that was the only championship that the Dodgers won while Jackie Robinson played for them. But during that time, the Dodgers did win 6 National League pennants, which means they got to the World Series 6 times. They won it the once. They lost it 5 times with Jackie Robinson. That's still even though they lost the World Series, it's still a big accomplishment. He was a 6-time All-Star. And more important than all of these stats, it was by 1952, so within 5 years of Jackie Robinson's first year in the major leagues, 150 black players had signed with the major league or minor league teams. So within 5 years of Jackie Robinson's first game in the major leagues, the doors were started opening up to black players. And when it says they were signed with major league or minor league teams, even the minor league players were important because this means they were given the opportunity to show that they were good enough to play in the major leagues. In 1962, Jackie Robinson was the first black player elected to the Hall of Fame, which kind of makes sense. He's the first black player in Major League Baseball. He should be the first black player in the Hall of Fame. And while his career statistics were great, and he probably just what he did on the field is probably enough to get him in the Hall of Fame. What he did off the field and what his role in breaking the color barrier in baseball, definitely, even if he was the worst player, that would have been enough to get him in the Hall of Fame. So now every year, Major League Baseball celebrates Jackie Robinson Day. So when a player is really good for a team, when he retires, that team retires that player's number and says he was such a good player for us that no one else can ever wear his number. Jackie Robinson was so important to Major League Baseball that he's the only player to have his number retired by every team in Major League Baseball. This means that no one ever is allowed to wear the number 42 on any team. The only exception to this is every April 15th, to commemorate Jackie Robinson's first game in the major leagues, everybody wears number 42. So here we have a picture of the Los Angeles Dodgers now, but everyone wearing 42. We have the Red Sox here, you've got the Yankees here, and even the Dodgers' arch rival, the Giants. They all wear it. Every team wears, every player, every coach, every manager, every bat boy wears number 42 to recognize the importance of Jackie Robinson. Okay, so that's kind of a a brief introduction to Jackie Robinson's first year plan and his experience breaking the color barrier in baseball. So what did that have to do with civil rights? So Jackie Robinson paved the way and was an inspiration for many civil rights leaders. Um, what Jackie Robinson did was he kind of got the thoughts going where both for civil rights leaders and leaders in the black communities thinking, hey, we could start changing things. And then also for white people in the country saying, hey, we used to think that black people they weren't as good as us, but Jackie Robinson's can play baseball with any one of the major leagues, and look at how good of a person he is, the character that he has, the way he can deal with all of that and not fight back. That says a lot. And so it prepared the United States for the civil rights movement. It kind of got everything ready for the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s. Here we have a picture of Jackie Robinson with Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr., as everyone knows, is basically the leader of the civil rights movement in the United States. And he really looked up to Jackie Robinson and respected Jackie Robinson. As you'll see in a video pretty soon, Martin Luther King, when talking about Jackie Robinson, said Jackie Robinson was a sit-inner before sit-ins and a freedom rider before freedom rides. And so Jackie Robinson really paved the way for the civil rights movement. Go ahead and watch this video that talks about it a little more. This video it's kind of a preview for a documentary on Jackie Robinson by a guy named Ken Burns. He makes a lot of documentaries, really, really big, famous, long, well-researched documentaries about stuff in American history. He's done jazz, he's done a documentary on the Civil War, and we're talking 10, 12-hour documentaries here. And so in the 90s, he did a documentary, it's like a 10-hour documentary on baseball. And recently, he's gone back to it and said, you know what, in baseball, Jackie Robinson is so important both to baseball and to U.S. history that I'm going to do a documentary just on Jackie Robinson. So go ahead and watch this video, and it's kind of a preview for that documentary. All right, so pause this and come back when you're done. All right, so what's next? So we're done with this lecture here. What's next? You need to go and take the online quiz, or take the online quiz on Edmodo. I forgot to delete one of those, huh? So take that online quiz on Edmodo. It needs to be submitted by 11:59 tonight for you to get credit for it. Optional, examine the additional resources videos that accompany this lecture video. So those are also on Edmodo. They're all listed as additional videos. They're optional, but it will really help you understand a lot more about Jackie Robinson and his role as in breaking the color barrier in baseball, and in being a leader in the civil rights movement, his influence on the civil rights movement. And I think watching those videos will really help you kind of prepare for your own research when you do getting ready for your presentations at the exhibition as part of the culminating assessment for this unit. Number 3, you got to come to class tomorrow ready to discuss the content of this video. We're going to be having a class discussion on this and maybe delve into some of these topics a little deeper. And 4th, you're going to consider if you would be interested in having this area as your area of expertise for the cumulative project. So when you're being the tour guide through history, if this is the part of the Jackie Robinson and civil rights story that you want to be the expert on for your group. And here are additional videos. The first one is Jackie Robinson playing football. You're going to want to look for number 28. You can just see some of the plays he makes are just amazing. There's a clip on Jesse Owens in the 1936 Olympics, so you can kind of see what Jackie Robinson saw as his inspiration. There's a short biography on Jackie Robinson. It's got some good information in there. And then the last one is Ken Burns, that documentary maker. He talks about Jackie Robinson on, I don't know if you guys are fans of Stephen Colbert and The Late Show, but he was on there and he talks about Jackie Robinson and his documentary. Is just a quick, few minutes long. It's a good clip to watch. All right, so go ahead and check out those additional videos, get your quiz, and I will see you in class tomorrow.